John, I'm here in your house. We're doing an episode of Public Figures West.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to be talking about, are we talking about Mermaid Legend today?
Sure, unless you want to talk about something else.
Well, all I've been watching are Tubi videos, or Tubi movies on Tubi.
Okay, I haven't seen any of those.
Sure you have. I mean, it's all the greats. I mean, we're talking
Okay.
The Curse 2. We're talking, I watched the New York Ripper this morning, kind of half paid attention to it while I was doing my job, my storyboard stuff. I watched We Omega again, actually, last night.
Oh, do you remember what happens at the end?
No, actually, I forgot. I couldn't pay attention. Or I didn't. It eluded me again. You know?
Okay,
but
still good.
It's a good film. They call it Beyond the Darkness,
right,
in the States. But We Omega is a pretty fucking cool fucking thing to say, even though I don't know what it means exactly. Probably something similar. What's Omega mean again?
It's like the final, last, ending.
Fuck. If I wasn't recording on my phone, I'd be able to look up what Buyo means.
But I don't know. I don't know what buyo means.
Nobody knows what Buyo means. So we're talking about Mermaid Legend. We tried to do this before, but I hadn't seen it.
No, I hadn't seen it. You saw it. I didn't see it, and then it was just you ranting for like 30 minutes about how much you hated it.
I didn't say I hated it. Not one iota. I absolutely did not hate it. It absolutely. Let's start off with the rating. My rating for Mermaid Legend is going to be a 3.5. What's yours?
I would say at least a 4, maybe a 4.5.
Wow, he really liked it, everybody. All right, so you saw it more recently than I did. Now I'm at the same disadvantage, well, a similar disadvantage that you were at last time, because I haven't seen it.
Well, also, I went in, I watched it with your criticisms in mind. So
he went in trying to debunk my.
I don't know if I was trying to. I was actively trying. I was actively trying to sort of see if what you were saying felt accurate, and for the most part, I felt like it was. I mean, I can't remember every criticism that you made, but a few of them I didn't necessarily agree with.
Well, you know what? We're here now. I came all the way across the world to do this, to settle the score. So this is the big one. So, okay, it's more fresh in your mind. Why don't you tell everybody out there what Mermaid Legend is all about?
Well, it's about there's this. It's like in this small. It takes place in a very small fishing village in Japan, and there seems to be this big construction project that's going on.
You can look at me if you want.
It's hard to kind of twist my neck, and
you can get a little closer if you want. It'd be nice if you had a dog.
I'm getting scared.
If you had a little dog here or something, that would be good. But anyway, sorry, go on. So
I can get a stuffed animal from my daughter's room.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
So, small fishing village, Japan. There's a big company that is supposedly building a big, giant amusement park in this fishing village, and some of the fishermen they're not too keen on it. The story focuses on this one fisherman and his wife who they fish for abalone. They go out into the water and the wife, who seems to have she seems to be a very good swimmer, and she seems also to be able to hold her breath she's very skillful underwater, and so she's the one that's being sent down to go and fish for the abalone and bring it back up. Interesting
point. This was told to me by just some guy that I know. It may not be accurate at all, and I have no way to verify it, but I'm going to posit it as an interesting fact, is that the way that abalone fishing was regulated in Japan at the time, and maybe even still today, but probably not, is that you're not allowed to use scuba tanks. You just have to hold your breath, and if the police find you using scuba tanks, they'll charge you for it. And the reason why that is because they don't want anyone staying down there for a long time just taking all the abalone. So you can only take as much as you can hold your breath for.
Yeah, when she is sent down, she just goes down with a rope and a weight and swims down underwater.
And she's wearing like a nurse's uniform, basically.
Yeah, she's wearing like this white coverall, and she's got a scuba mask. But yeah, there's no tank, and there's no fins, there's no scuba equipment.
She's raw dogging.
And she seems to be able to last fairly, like a pretty good time underwater. And this was like one of the points that you made in your criticism was like, well, she has this ability to hold her breath, and then she doesn't employ it, in the movie at any point. And
it's not, okay, listen, it's not that she never does, it's that she doesn't employ it in any kind of significant way. She uses it like one time to get away.
Well, first of all, that whole idea that like, it's not like it's billboarded in some way where she's, the husband is like, well, you have this special power to hold your breath for long periods of time. So, you're the one who has to go down and get the abalone. And then she's, that's right, I have special mutant abilities. Like, that's just like, she's just kind of...
Do you really think that's what I'm trying to get out of this movie? Do you really think that's what I'm expecting out of this movie?
That was one of your criticisms. So I did not feel like... First of all, I didn't feel like that was this big point that, like, she has this special breath-holding power. But also... I feel like there are a few moments in the film where her swimming power and her holding her breath power, whatever, her sort of ability to maneuver underwater is beneficial to. It does help her in the story.
Okay, fair enough. So first of all, I'll say that the movie's called Mermaid Legend.
Right.
So. Take that as you will. Maybe I'm a clod who's taking it too literally, and I feel like, it's about this. It's going to all revolve around her holding her breath. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I really expected that to happen. But there's also like the her own sort of testimonial where she's talking about how, like later on in the film, she's talking about how she doesn't know how to do anything except to be a fisher lady.
Right.
And this is just like the one thing that she's really good at.
Sure.
And I don't know, I guess also, this also, for some reason, maybe it's just because of what was on my mind at the time, it made me think of Marvin Heemeyer, the great American hero Marvin Heemeyer.
Okay.
And how he
yes.
he utilized his welding. He'd been a muffler man and a welder his whole life. Uh-huh. He utilized his skill set and weaponized it.
Okay.
And I like the story. I like the idea in term. I mean, you can't just because you like the idea doesn't mean the movie has to be the idea that you like.
Right.
But like, isn't that a nice idea for like someone having sort of a mundane skill and like weaponizing it to take on like the powers that be? Well,
there are a few moments in the movie that her swimming ability, her quote unquote mermaid ability comes into play. One is when she's on that sort of prostitute island, and after she kills, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but after she kills the Yakuza and she's escaping, she literally like swims back home to her original, back to Japan. So there's that. Then when she kills the old Yakuza dad in the pool, like that to me was sort of like, well, the director's making this choice. Like I could have her kill him like on ground, but he doesn't do that. He has them in the pool, and she's able to get the better of him in the pool because she's in water.
Does she like hold him down, or does she stay down with him and just hold her breath with him?
It happens over. It's not just like one moment. Like it happens. Like that's kind of what she's doing. Like she grabs him, holds him down, then he somehow squirms away, and then she does it again. So it's like over and over again until he can't, fight back anymore, and then he finally dies.
All right.
And then of course the third time is when the Yakuza gang wraps her in a net and throws her off a cliff into the ocean, and she is able to survive. Like is able to get out of the net and survive and get back to the shore. So those I felt were pretty significant. I'm going to call them mermaid moments.
Mermaid moments. Mer moments. Okay, well, yeah, okay, fair enough. Those all seem to be like, okay, sure, let's just make a point in saying that those are all pretty, like, defensive, well, except for maybe, first of all, the drowning one, I don't, like, she's holding him down, and then he's up, and then it's...
Well, arguably, like, none of these moments are sort of, like, billboarded as, like, she's like, dun, 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 mermaid power, and suddenly, like, activated into super mermaid person.
Mermaid.
It's all fairly subtle, but it just kind of seems very apparent that, like, this woman has underwater skills. They're not superhuman, or they're not sort of presented to be superhuman, but they are there.
Yeah, I don't want it to be superhuman. But I mean, for example, listen, it's fine. Let's just sort of meet me in the middle and agree that it's pretty understated.
Right.
Okay. So that's fine. It's not a criticism. It's just like, slightly disappointing, like maybe 15% disappointing for me. Even if it was just her grabbing onto the guy and not letting him go, and being able to, for a woman to defeat like a full-grown man, she just grabs onto him and just doesn't let go. Kind of similar. Remember the time in Her Vengeance when Wheelchair Guy just doesn't let go of that fucking guy, like, something like that. But whatever. Like this is not really that big of a deal for me. Like, this is not the big disappointing thing for this movie for me. It's just kind of like, and in fact, there's that part after she gets thrown off the cliff in the net, and she almost becomes like feral after that. She doesn't become feral, but like she's just surviving by catching fish and just eating them, like on the beach and stuff. I really like that stuff.
Right.
It just seems really like, it's kind of sexy, actually, just seeing some just a woman kind of just being like some kind of animal like that. But it's also very like, like, I don't know, Japanese kind of countryside bumpkin, like not bumpkin, but like
hillbilly.
Not hillbilly. What's a nicer name? What's a nicer name for something like that? Like just traditional, like
bumpkin,
old world. Not old world's not right, because that's like
primitive.
Yeah, there's something primitive, primal. How about primal? There's something primal about it. So, but anyways, like back to the story. So there's they kill the husband.
Well, actually, so the husband sees some shit. He sees somebody get killed. And
do you know why that person was killed?
That person knew, because like the deal with the amusement park is just a ruse. These corporate / Yakuza people are going to their real plan is to build a nuclear power plant. They don't have any intention of making an amusement park. They're only saying they're going to make an amusement park, so I guess they need to say that in order to buy the land or something. But then once they buy it, they're like, okay, we're going to make this into a nuclear power plant. And there's this one dude that gets killed, I guess, had some information. He knew, or he didn't want them to do this. He was gonna rat them out before the deal was made or something.
Gonna blow the whistle.
He's a whistleblower. He was a Silkwood, and he gets killed in his boat on the water in the night. And the husband sees this, and he knows that there's something going on. And he's telling people that there's something going on. Nobody really believes him. So he and his wife, he drags his wife out into the water, and they're going to go look for remnants of the murder under the water. He sends his wife down to go and investigate, find evidence. And as she's down there looking for evidence, the husband is murdered in his boat, and I should also say, like, the underwater shit in this movie is great.
It is fantastic.
It is really good underwater filming. and action. So yeah, she sees the husband fall into the water, and then they're shooting harpoons at her, and she gets sort of hit in the arm, and she's dodging the harpoons. And I think they must assume that they killed her too. So the bad dudes drive off in their boat.
She ends up washing up on the shore, encountering a cop. The cop's like, "Oh, it's so good," and she goes up to the cop, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And she tells him exactly what happened. He's like, "Oh, it's so good that you've decided to turn yourself in." She's like, "No, you got it all wrong. I'm not turning myself in. This is a plot against me. I'm being framed." And and then she tries to run up this terrace kind of thing, and he tries to chase her, and then she thrashes around, and he ends up falling very a long distance downward onto the rocks, and is not killed but is severely injured, which, hurting a cop, now she's in big trouble.
And so she makes a call to her husband's best friend, who is the son. Her husband's best friend. I guess he runs a bar, or he works at a bar. He's like a bartender / photographer.
He's like a Paris Hilton. He can do whatever he can do whatever he wants.
But he's the son of the old Yakuza guy who is basically running point on the amusement park nuclear power plant deal.
Yeah,
and
the son is like a Johnny Fratto.
Yes, but he's a lot younger than Johnny Fratto.
Right.
And there's sort of like this idea
Johnny Fratto was a young man at one point, though.
At one point, but not when he was handling Eric the Midget.
Let's talk a little bit about Johnny Fratto for a minute. Do you recall the story when he told about how his father brought home the space shuttle?
Yeah.
Or not the space shuttle, but the moonlander, and set it up in their living room at Christmas time.
Yeah, they lived in like Iowa or something.
The thing about Iowa is because it touches 3 states. It's 3 very like mafia active states. It's like New York, Chicago, and then whatever the other one is. Mm-hmm. And so like a lot of the transport and moving stuff around has to go through Iowa. So in fact, you can kind of be like a sneaky, or not sneaky, but you can be kind of under the radar. Like you're not like one of these guys who's like really high profile. And so there was also that other story where he brought everybody from Bonanza for like the birthday party.
Oh, right. Or as his dad did. His dad brought...
That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, all of these stories... It's not Johnny Fratto who got the moon rover or whatever.
It was his dad.
It was his dad, Joe Fratto. So, so yeah, like, and Michael Landon started giving him grief. He was like, fuck all this shit. Like, I'm not doing this stuff. And then Joe Fratto goes over and grabs the back of his head.
That's right.
And he's like, are you gonna fucking do this? And then he just nodded his head for him. And next thing you know, Michael Landon and everybody like Hop Sing and all the other guys from Bonanza are like just doing a parade down the street, just dressed up in their costumes. It's actually very funny. And then later on, he was the manager and agent. Well, not agent, but manager and legal counsel of...
Confidant of Eric the Midget.
Yeah, and confidant of Eric the Midget. I guess being a manager is somewhat of a confidant anyways. But anyways, back to the Mermaid Legend.
All right, so this Johnny Fratto Jr. character, so whatever, he seems to be slumming it with the fishermen, and he's hanging out with, he seems to be best friends with...
Eric the Midget.
Yeah, that too. But he seems to be friends with this guy that got killed, and so the wife calls him for help, and his solution is like, look, I have a friend that works at this whorehouse on Whorehouse Island, and they can hide you over there. So they hop on a boat, and he takes her over to the Whorehouse Island. She's not technically...
Let's call it Hooker Island.
Hooker Island. And he's like, oh, there's the madam there. She'll sweet on me. She'll do what I tell her. Mm-hmm. So they set her up in a nice little room apartment in the whorehouse. She's not working there. She's just kind of hanging out there and hiding until, like, I guess the heat blows over.
But she wants answers.
Right. She's still very traumatized and very interested in proving her innocence and proving that her husband was the conspiracy that killed her husband. Mm-hmm. So What happens now? So
She wants answers. So
she wants answers. Okay, but like so.
she first thing she does is she cuts her hair and she burns it. And also let's talk about the Buddha on the pier, because like that's like a big part of. Do you remember?
Yeah,
That's a big part of the story. Is that
because there's a Buddha on the beach too.
well, that's what I mean. The by the water.
Right.
And she's very religious. This also speaks to sort of the I couldn't find the word before, kind of like the countryside, kind of rural nature of her. Mm-hmm. She knows how to fish, and she's a good Buddhist, you know.
Well, I mean that also plays. I feel like it plays heavily into the ending because she's very in tune with the water, with nature. And I think nature plays a big role in the finale.
Primal.
In getting her to achieve her goal.
Where did you watch the film? Did you watch it like on a Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Were the nudity parts censored?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's a way around that.
Because that's something we should also mention is that the dead husband's good pal fucks this woman.
Yeah, and it's rough, but it's
consensual.
It's consensual, and it's she's surprised by it, but she
goes along with it because I think she sort of sees him as a nice guy and a friend and as sort of almost a savior. Yeah, like he's helping her.
Well, but it doesn't feel from her perspective. It doesn't feel. Is the word transactional? Yeah. It
does not feel transactional. It feels like she
needs comfort.
She needs comfort, but she actually likes this guy. Yeah. Like he's apparently, he seems like a nice guy. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out that he's not a nice guy. That guy's dad kind of gets wind of the fact that
she's alive,
and she's communicating with his son. So at some point the son has to choose between his dad and what his dad wants and this woman, and ultimately he chooses his dad, and he basically tells his dad that this woman is on Hooker Island.
She's a loose thread.
And as the progress of the nuclear power plant is moving forward, they're going to celebrate with a big party on Hooker Island with all the Yakuzas, because I guess like the deal's gone through and it's going to happen, and so they're going to have this big party. Big banquet. And I wish we knew the woman's name. The mermaid lady.
We don't have our phones. I'm not able to be the fact checker.
So the mermaid lady hears that this big party's coming, and she's like, I want to work this party. And the madam's like, okay, well, you're going to have to fuck somebody if you want to work the party. And she's like, yeah, I'm totally down. So, and she's only doing this because she knows that this is how she's going to find out the truth. What's the world coming to? You can't trust a crackhead to blow you.
Well, just the whole thing is just slathered in despair. And that's the thing about this fucking city, man, this Los Angeles city. Everyone here has a very hard outer shell around them. Uh-huh. Like there's I just walked over here, and there's all sorts of just like horrible, just destitute people that are just like, just like
in Glendale. No, there isn't.
On the way over, not in Glendale, but I wouldn't say that the majority of them
are destitute people at the Americana.
No, like just coming up. We saw like some fucked up lady just walking the other day going to the mall. There was some lady who was like that, some crazy lady.
There's just one lady.
Yeah, well, the point is that it's obviously the biggest concentration is not in Glendale, but that's making my point is that even in a nice neighborhood like Glendale, like I walk by probably around like 8, people having like a bad fucking day, just walking over here, like 10-minute walk. So anyhow,
that's why this place is so exciting.
Well, that is the reason why LA at large is very exciting. Glendale actually, nice Armenian neighborhood, Eastern Orthodox churches, all that kind of stuff.
It's an Armenian oasis here.
Yeah, and it's and I think that's sort of the what do you call it? Sort of the national kind of homogeneity kind of keeps things like pretty under control because everyone's just kind of like, hey, this is our neighborhood, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe, I don't know. That's the reason why, like, you know, that's the reason why Japan is like kind of under control in that regard, is just because it's like we're all on the same team here.
No immigrants.
Yeah. Well, we're all on the same team. I mean, like, well, you know, I mean, it's not just, well, okay, listen, let's not get too into this or else, because now we're on video and now the clips can actually be like taken. It's not just audio, because we could claim like AI before, but now we still could claim AI, you know, but like it's a lot more difficult to create video, or it's a lot more easy to create audio than it is to create video at this point in time. So we shouldn't get into our political, our radical political views.
Exactly.
So okay,
this is a safe space to talk about film.
Regarding
Henry,
regarding Mermaid Legend, there's the banquet. There's this sort of loudmouth fucking Japanese guy who's just kind of like, "Hey, you're pretty cute. Come over here and give me a drink, you fucking bitch." And then she comes over and she, like, you know, she's all dressed up like a geisha and stuff, and she's like pouring him a drink. And then he kind of like, I'm not sure if he does it then or if he does, like, I don't think he does it at that point, but he kind of like gives the impression that he knows something. He's a guy who might have some information.
Well, she's kind of eyeballing the main guy, and she seems like she kind of wants to get him alone. But then this other guy's sort of like, "Hey, you know, what am I, chopped liver? Come over here. I want a piece." And so she really has to kind of go with him, and they go up to her room, and she's a little hesitant about the whole sexual thing, but she starts asking him questions about, like, what's going on and the murders, the murder of her husband, and the guy just starts like spilling his guts and saying, like, "Yeah, we killed those guys because they knew too much about the nuclear power plant deal, and we framed it on his wife. And guess what? I know that you're his wife."
Yeah, but you know what? That you, like, before jumping the gun on that one, it's like, I remember sitting there and just being like, why has this guy got such a big mouth? And I thought, okay, well, he's drunk. Maybe that's why. Maybe because he just thinks so little of her. Maybe that's why. Maybe
I thought that too.
Maybe also because it's like what, you know, that's maybe that just kind of part and parcel with like a hooker, maybe in this context is kind of like, you know, it's like going to see your lawyer or something. You can drop whatever you want, and they're just sort of, it's just customary to kind of for them to keep their mouth shut in the same way that they would keep their mouth shut, and not tell your wife or something, you know. So I'm kind of like, you know, in my mind making excuses for the movie, and then all of a sudden he's like, "I know you're her," and I'm like, "Oh, that's great."
Right.
You know? So that's well done.
So then he's basically like, "I'm going to fuck you and then I'm going to kill you." And that's what's going to happen here.
Right.
So he initiates the raping, and it begins, and at some point she starts to fight back, and then you had a criticism about her towel move.
It's ridiculous.
She throws a towel around. He's on top, and he throws a towel around her neck, and she starts kind of like wrestling with him. And if she had like killed him in that way, I probably would have been more critical of that move. But the fact that it just was like a way to just kind of like throw him off.
Listen, everyone go out there and watch this movie and just tell me in the comments what exactly she's trying to do by throwing a towel over his neck and pulling, and why is he...
But she also at some point does put her foot up against, like, on his chest as she's pulling.
It's like,
and
you know, we have the video now. Me and you should just do that right now and see how much it hurts anybody. All that they have to do, like, again, like it's aggravating because it's so close. It's like the same thing with the drowning of, you know, that's going to happen later when she drowns the Yakuza boss guy. Like, it's so easy just to sort of make it so that she grabs onto the guy, and, you know, and she's just got like a death lock on him, and then holds him down. And this is a great way for a woman who can hold her breath for a long time to actually kill a full-grown man. You know, like it's actually like not only is it feasible and believable, but it's also like clever. It's like a clever moment in a movie. Same thing with this. It's like all she has to do is put her foot up and press it against his neck and then pull with the towel. And then that's like, you know, oh wow, she's got something going on here. If she can keep this up, she's going to be able to kill this guy. But of course, he has his arms free. He's going to be able to get out of that.
Well, he does.
I know.
And yeah, as I said,
it's poor choreography.
If she had killed him, if she had actually killed him or seriously injured him in that way, then I would have been like, oh, come on. But the fact that it was just a way to kind of like throw him off.
It doesn't even make sense like that. Like
it didn't bother me.
It bothered me, and because it's so close to being good, but it's just like the slight or the, you know, just like take a moment to figure out how the physicality of this is going to work, and then do it, and then you have something that like feels, you know, it's the difference between like a good fight scene and a shitty fight scene.
No, I mean I see where you're coming from, but yeah, it just didn't really bother me that much. It was just enough to aggravate him to, you know, get her out from under him. And then
Dagger comes out.
Yeah. And then he's about to kill her and he's standing on the sleeping bag or something. And
it's like a tatami mat.
And she pulls it out from under him and then he falls down, drops the knife, and then she basically fucking slaughters him with his own knife.
Yeah, and you see his you would be able to see her vagina, but they have like this weird like bright sort of, how would you even describe that? It's
almost like a fog.
It looks like a lens flare or like maybe some schmutz on the lens.
But I do know that Blu-ray company Error 444, whatever it is,
4444
is coming out with the Mermaid Legend Blu-ray, and I'm curious to see if it also has the censored private parts, or if they somehow were able to decensor them.
Yeah, well, yeah, they used AI, like type the prompt, put her pussy in, make her lips full and plump, give her fat, juicy pussy cheeks.
But again, when she slaughters him in a pretty gruesome way, there's spray going all over her, all over the room.
That was another one of my criticisms,
which I feel like is very. It's just a Japanese thing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, let me take a second to say I wouldn't have batted an eye about that, but I was watching it with two friends of mine who don't really watch a lot of films like that. However, they're not stupid either. They just don't really watch a lot of movies like that. And they were like, "Why is it spraying?" And then it made me think like, "Oh, well, the reason why I'm not batting an eye is because that's just a Japanese thing."
Right.
But usually it's like something that's either in like films that are a little more over the top, a little more like sort of exploitation.
See, I don't necessarily think so, because like especially if you watch like those Zatoichi movies
or like Kurosawa, like samurai films that are meant to be more like theatrical. So like it's either like exploitation kind of like over the top, or it's this Kurosawa kind of thing. Because in fact, as far as I know, that blood spraying thing is like a Kurosawa thing that happened by accident during, I think, Yojimbo or something, where they
Senjuro.
I don't know which one. There's somebody. This is again when it's something that someone told me, and it could entirely be untrue.
I've heard it too.
But it's like they turned it up too high, and Kurosawa was like, that's it. You know, this is what I need from this. You know, so and then that just went on to become like a Japanese staple. So.
But yeah, it didn't bother me. I thought I like it, and I was not asking why is it spraying. I knew, because that's the cool thing to do.
But it makes me think like it does like in this particular film, given how grounded it was, like made me think, I'm not sure how appropriate this is, and are you just doing this because this is just what Japanese films do? It made me think that if, this could still be very bloody and gory, because that's the thing too. I was thinking about this. I was talking with some people about special effects for this project that I'm working on right now, and it's like they were asking me about the sadness, and they were like, oh, do you want it to be all crazy over the top, like in the subway scene? And I was like, well, I don't think that the subway scene is like all together over the top, but there is one part where like the blood sprays out and there's like way too much blood, and that actually is kind of a regret that I have, because I feel like it kind of lets the audience off the hook in a sense. Like it lets you know that this isn't really meant to be serious. There's sort of like a fantasy element to this. So like,
but I mean, technically it is a fantasy movie.
Yeah, I know, but the best kind of, like when you have like give me one miracle and then I'll give you the rest, and like that. What's that saying? Like scientists say, like, oh, I can give you the whole universe. You just need to give me one miracle to start it with, and then everything else can be explained by natural process. You have like one sort of science fiction kind of thing of this virus that does a thing with people's minds or whatever, but then everything else play out as if it were happening in real life. So
it didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me either.
I liked it.
It didn't bother me either, but it didn't take me out of like, oh man, like this movie was so grounded up until this point. Like I wasn't even thinking on those terms. I was just like, wow, that's cool. It just made me think. It just made me consider something.
Well, stop thinking and just let things happen. That's the problem. Like your mind is like always like, you need to relax, man.
What's that Bloody Wood film over there? Or a book, I mean. Bloody Wood.
Oh, I think that's Ghana movie posters.
Oh, okay. Okay, so anyways, what are we talking about?
So she kills the Yakuza, and now she's got to get the fuck off of Hooker Island, and so she escapes and climbs out the window and swims back to Japan. And then the next time she shows up, she shows up at the head Yakuza guy's house as he's sitting by the pool, and it's raining, it's pouring rain. And this is the other scene where, she that you had an issue with, where she
drowns the guy.
She fights the guy, drags him into the pool, and they have a big fight in the pool, and she kills him in the pool.
Yeah, and it's not that big of an issue. But we've already talked about that ad nauseum, so it's fine.
But we should also mention that she at some point she is now aware that this guy that was her husband's best friend has betrayed her and him, and sold her out to her his evil father. So now I think
does your memory get hazy at this point?
No,
mine does, but I haven't seen it
because I feel like at this point. So now the old Yakuza leader is dead, and
did we miss the funeral for the husband? Or does that happen after?
First, I think before that comes, the old Yakuza guy's dead, and now there's like there's a scene where the young son, the Johnny Fratto Jr. bartender photographer guy, is elevated to like, okay, you're in charge now. You have to take control of this operation. And he still seems very unsure of his position and taking over for his dad. And the other Yakuzas seem to know it too. Like they're kind of like, this guy doesn't have what it takes. I feel like, and then after that, I think the next scene is like there's a happening in a cemetery where it's sort of like a procession. I don't think it's necessarily specifically for her husband. I think it's just like some kind of procession for the dead, and she is specifically doing it for her husband. She's wearing like this sort of very like a big white gown outfit and this kind of like white draped umbrella thing, and with Japanese writing all over it. And so they're having this kind of like this parade for the dead in the cemetery, and that's when the old friend and his Yakuza goons drive a pickup truck into the cemetery, and
they disrupt and defile the procession.
And they confront her, and he, again, is very hesitant he's just kind of like, look, you need to just get the fuck out of town. And she's basically like, fuck you. And that's when his Yakuza boys jump out of the truck and just throw a net on her and throw her over the cliff into the ocean. And here she has like some kind of, because of her super mermaid abilities, is able to get herself out of the net. She's underwater. She's able to get out of the net. And while she's underwater, this is when she finds her husband's body. And at first I thought, like, is this like some kind of fantasy dream that she's having of like seeing, like she's dying and she's seeing her husband? But once she starts dragging him onto the shore, it becomes apparent, oh no, this is real. She really found his body. And so she drags him onto the shore, and I think she has like some kind of funeral pyre for him on the beach.
Yep.
And that's when she's also, so she's having like the funeral pyre, and she's also eating raw abalone.
Yeah. And we there's probably should be a mention, it probably should happen earlier, but like there's a mention of like when this Buddha sweats black, there's like a huge like cataclysmic storm. Well, the last time that the Buddha sweated black, there was a huge cataclysmic storm that like wrecked a bunch of ships, and it was like like the gods kind of trampling all over people and letting people know what their place in the grand scheme of things is.
Yeah, right. So she sees the Black Buddha sculpture on the beach, and she starts praying for the storm.
Give me that storm, she says, bleed, sweat black for me, please, Buddha.
And then now there's I guess the next day, whatever, there's a parade that's going down, Main Street of, hey, it's the grand opening for the great big nuclear power plant, and
it's one of those.
We're going to have a big gala event at the power plant, and they're throwing flyers out of like, hey, come to the event.
Yeah, it feels like it's not like a cool parade. It's like that shitty like Asian parade where someone's running for office, and so it just doesn't feel like a parade. It just feels like something.
There's no floats. There's a band and like a bunch of old Yakuza guys in a car,
all
waving.
in suits, and a lot of paper being thrown. A lot of paper.
And she gets one of these flyers. She sees like, oh, there's a big gala event at this power plant tonight. So she starts preparing for her
revenge.
Her revenge. And so they're having a big event, this big gala event at the power plant. Lots of suits, lots of people from the town. It's a big deal. And she shows up and causes she shows up with a spear.
She takes a trident, a 3-pronged trident, and cuts off 2 of them, giving all the Yakuzas the finger. And she goes in there, and this is actually my biggest problem with the movie. And this is probably your favorite part.
I had no problem with it. It did not bother me at all. As I said, this is the second time I've seen it.
Doesn't surprise me.
And I actually,
your previous comments. Go ahead.
And I actually went in like wanting to sort of feel like, oh, this is just impossible. This has never happened. And the way that you were sort of making it sound to me is sort of like she was just going in there and mowing everybody down with her spear, and from the moment she busts through the door and starts stabbing people are trying to stop her and trying to grab her, and she's able to just like get out of it or push them away and turn or to get the spear in them. I felt like it was like, if you're going to have a movie where a woman with a spear is just systematically stabbing and killing people, this is pretty well done. Like, I didn't feel at all like, this is impossible, or this could never happen, or why are these people just standing there and letting her do this? They seem to be trying to stop her or trying to run away. I thought it was well done.
Fair enough. It's not so much that I had a problem when she was attacking. It was more when she was thrown to the ground, and then Yakuza guys were just kind of hovering over her.
Well, first of all, you're just saying they're Yakuza guys. They're just guys.
Or guys, who cares? Like men.
It's like people from the town, both men and women, are like running around chaotically. Like it's not like trained, martial artists who she's like attacking.
They're proactive enough to grab her and throw her to the ground, but then all of a sudden they stop being proactive enough to even take the trident away from her or just pin her. I mean, it's just if it happens like once or twice, it's fine, but it's like this scene goes on for a long time, and it just it's just lack of planning. It's lack of orchestrating the thing properly so that you can give the benefit of the doubt. Like, there's just too. It goes beyond luck. It goes beyond luck into the realm of these guys are just going to stop. They're going to attack, and then as soon as she's on the ground, they're going to stop and let her get back up. And then when she's attacking again, that's when they kind of turn back on again and start attacking. That's the way I felt about it. I mean, all things considered, it's a cool scene. Like how it's taking place on those sort of bridges, like that sort of network of bridges, really cool. The way it's lit is really cool. It's like it's all just like One Direction spotlight sort of lighting, and it is. I mean, it's bloody. Like, there's a lot of like violence and stuff. I mean, there's like, by all accounts, it should be great, but there's just this lack of attention given to the choreography, and that's what bugs me. Again, all the problems I have with this movie are it's so close to being really great, but it's just sort of this, I'm hesitant to say laziness. I don't think it's laziness. I think it's just maybe, maybe it's a scheduling, they just didn't have enough time to sort of put it together. They had to just shoot this in a few days, or get out there and do it. Oh, you know what? This looks a little fucked up. Maybe we should try doing it again. We don't have time to do it again. We only have this for one day. Like, there's all kinds of practicalities like that. So you forgive it, but you don't want to. You really don't want to make excuses for a movie and try to come up with things that aren't related to the movie, like that aren't in the movie itself. Like, oh, it has to do with kind of what was going on the set, or what. Like, that's all nonsense.
I watched it again, and I was like trying to feel like, oh, this is a problem, or this isn't good enough, or the fighting was like really lame, and I didn't feel that way. I felt like this is cool.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
Could it have been better? Maybe.
Yes.
But it's pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. Well, so then that happens, and then there's like the Buddha bleeds black, right?
And then there's a big storm, and the cops come with riot gear to take her down, and then all of a sudden the big storm happens and pushes all the cops away, and she jumps into the water and escapes.
She gets naked.
Yeah, so she jumps in the water, and when she comes up, she seems to be in some sort of possible heaven with her husband's there, and it's a nice day, and I don't know if we're led to believe that she's either in heaven or in some sort of dreamland.
It's like the end of Christmas Evil when the guy's van flies, just like some
right
a miracle happens.
That's a good movie.
That is a great movie. It's like very difficult to like, because you put that on sometime, like the first time you put that on, you think you're gonna get Silent Night, Deadly Night.
No, it's better.
No. What I'm saying is that's what you're thinking it's gonna be, but it's something a lot more serious. What were you gonna say?
Primal.
Primal? No, it's not primal. It's a lot more.
It's
like,
more nuanced and it's more of a character.
It's
study.
a character. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a character study. It's not primal.
I was just joking because that was
That's a good.
It was a call. It's called a callback.
Well, how dare you? That's what makes Mermaid Legend work. You know, it's like she's like a mythical creature. Like they call it Mermaid Legend. She's like an undine. Is that the word? Do you know what an undine is?
No,
I think it's
like an unk.
No,
Unk.
that's not unk. Unk is like what black people call old people. But undine, I think, is like a water nymph.
Is that like a Rizzler?
A Rizzler. He doesn't know. He never heard of the Rizzler. I mean, his girlfriend's like 34 years old. She doesn't know what the Rizzler is either. Born in 1989.
Yeah, and I'm like 35 years old. I never heard of the Rizzler.
Yeah, exactly. He's 35. He only just recently started taking boner pills.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what else are we talking about? Christmas Evil. Should we talk about Christmas Evil for a bit?
I have to rewatch Christmas Evil. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to comment on Christmas Evil in the same way that I did Mermaid Legend.
Right. Okay. So again, after talking, let me tell you this. As I was talking about it with you just now, it really is like a great movie when described to someone. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is that all the problems are entirely with execution, and for him they're not problems. For me, they're problems, but they're so close. It's what it's like. It's like in a, I don't know, like if you're, I don't know, like an interior design or any kind of design, like, if two lines are like really far apart from each other, it's not a problem. If they're perfectly lined up, it's not a problem. But if they're just slightly off, that's a problem. That's the biggest problem there is. So it's like that's the issue with Mermaid Legend for me, is that the problems in it are just so small that they're just aggravating. It's like a dot, like a.
Well, maybe you're like approaching these things as a director, like you're thinking technically, like I'm not like really thinking on those terms. I'm just sort of like, is this working?
It reminds me of my toilet bowl at my Airbnb that has like a little blob of my shit on the back of it, and I keep trying to pee it off every time I pee, and it's just so aggravating. If the whole thing was just covered in shit, I'd be overjoyed. But or if it was clean, I would also be very happy as well.
Right.
But if there's just that one little blob of fucking hard ass shit,
right,
it's just aggravating.
And you can't piss it away.
You can't piss it away. You have to get in there with the brush, or even come in there with the toilet paper, and try not to let the water soak into the toilet paper, and then you get toilet water on your hand.
So like my mind is sort of like the piss stream.
Yeah.
And my mind is sort of like Clorox, and I just kind of go in there and just wipe it away. And your mind is like a weak stream of piss that can't get the shit off the bowl.
Yeah, right. You couldn't get this. You couldn't get that. You couldn't pee off that fucking glob. You couldn't pee off that glob.
I know. That's why I'm like, you got to get out the Clorox to do it.
Right. Well, hold on. Let me think for what else we have to talk about, because we have about 6 more minutes left before we can call it like an hour-long episode. We have to kill some time here. What do we do when we kill time?
Anyway,
How do we kill time?
4.5 movie. It's a great movie.
It's definitely like a very good movie. It's something that like it's a big recommend. Like even the music in it is fantastic. Underwater photography is
the music's great too.
Second to none. Like the performance from the lead, like you can't take your fucking eyes off her. She's amazing.
Terrific.
She's amazing. And even like the casting of her too. She's kind of like not, even at that time, she's not like the typical kind of Japanese leading, well, maybe for like a B film she would be like, maybe I forget her name, but the girl who played in Zeram, do you remember her?
No.
Well, then just kind of like a.
Nope. Isn't Zeram like later?
But what I'm saying is just like it is later, but not much later.
I was thinking more of like, female prisoner, scorpion lady.
I'm just trying to think of Japanese women that have like a little bit of a darker complexion and that aren't kind of like that sort of porcelain skin kind of beauty sort of thing, that sort of Asian, that bizarre Asian standard of women. Listen, for me, the temperature of one's skin color does not impact upon how attractive I think they are. I think that.
All right, calm down.
I think that a dark-skinned Japanese woman can be very beautiful. This is actually live right now. I told you this is streaming
Instagram
directly
live.
at our affiliate in Bangalore, India right now. We're on every taxi cab on the little TV behind the passenger seat headrest. All right, fuck. God damn it, Johnny. We have to kill 4 more minutes.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us about your why don't you go ahead and tell us about your latest book?
My latest book.
Yeah. What's it called? Like retards?
Oh, Wicked Retarded.
Wicked Retarded. I'd actually like to know about it. I flipped through it. I was surprised to see that it was like an anthology book.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why were you surprised?
I just thought it was like... I
Just
thought
one epic story about a retard.
But maybe. Or I thought it was going to be... It's not like 1 or 2 page stories. It's not one big long story. It's like, what, like an 8 to 10 page long... 3 8 to 10 page long stories, right?
Sounds right.
All right, that's not the kind of thing that I'm used to seeing from you, although maybe that is something that you do very often.
It used to be.
Okay, well, what are the 3 stories about? Consider this an opportunity to plug.
Well, 2 of the stories are about a mother-daughter, Colleen from Plymouth, and her daughter Simone, and she's just a real kind of a trashy mom with a bratty kid, just very sort of Three Stooges type fun.
Come on, John, you're trying to sell this to the people. Give a little bit of pep here.
And look, I'm bad at this. I mean, Wicked Retarded says it all. That's why I don't have to be a salesman after that. It's just like it sells itself.
Yep. Well, okay. So Simone, would you say Colleen from Plymouth and her daughter Simone?
Right.
And so that's what one story's about.
You read it. You tell.
I didn't read it.
I
I flipped through it. I just kind of looked through. There's one that's got some guys with powdered wigs and stuff.
Oh yeah. So that's the Lord False Walters story. So that's sort of a kind of a fun. I guess almost like Sadian sex story that takes place in the 1700s. For some reason, I thought it kind of like when you have characters in powdered wigs and tri-cornered hats and they're doing awful things, it seems to be more acceptable. Like it seems like it's coming from like a place of history and intelligence, like, oh, look at these enlightened constitutionalists having sex with a horse.
Are they Americans? Are they like? They're like
I haven't like really decided.
war?
Like I feel like I kind of go back and forth between like being Americans and it happening in England.
I heard that like back in those days of powdered wigs and tri-corner hats and like like knee socks and stuff.
Sure, knickers.
A big insult would be to make fun of a man's calves.
Oh, really?
You'd be like, look at that guy's little bitch calves, you know?
Oh, man.
Oh, my word, his calves are so weak. They're like a woman's.
I'm about to incorporate that in the next issue.
You should. I think that's a pretty good... his calves are not even, substantial enough to keep his knickers...
Like a wet calf contest.
Well, it's not like they jerked off. Actually, they probably did. But it's so funny to think that, sort of those... that there still are very primitive people, but like they think that they're, like they probably care more about civility than modern people do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're still like, having sex with children like very often and stuff like that. Like
who does?
Just like the people like European libertines and people who wore powdered wigs and didn't shower but perfumed themselves instead and wore makeup.
Well, you have to think too that people probably lived like the lifespan was like 26, so you had to get going real fast.
Yeah,
your sex life.
That's true. Okay, well, listen, everybody. Thanks a lot. We hope that you enjoyed Public Figures West, our new format with video. I really hope that I can get this off the phone and into the internet
and into your hearts
in a timely manner because I've never done this kind of video thing before. I also hope that the camera's still recording at this point as well, because I mean, if it just timed out or that battery fucking died, oof, you're not gonna get this again. let me tell you. But anyways, let's say goodbye to all of our people, all of our viewers, all of them.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.